Welcome, everybody, to the Chinchilla Pickin' Podcast. As always, we hope to be entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. It is Cinco de Mayo. My name is David Underwood, and I am here with Brandon Beaver. Brandon, how are you, man?
Cinco de Mayo, isn't that on Friday? Or is it always just May 5th? Is it Cinco de Thursday right now?
I apologize on behalf of Chinchilla Pickin' for Brandon's lack of knowledge of Cinco de Mayo.
May 5th? It's always May 5th.
It's May 5th, okay. The 5th of May.
I always
Cinco
thought
de
it was
Mayo.
Friday. I don't know.
No, it's Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. Because May the 4th is actually my favorite holiday. So I celebrated that with my fashion. Yeah. May the 4th be with you. Watch some Star Wars. I enjoyed that. I do want to say our fan base is growing. We have more and more people reaching out saying, hey, I'm looking forward to your next podcast. So I do want to say hi.
You put me to sleep when you said Star Wars.
Oh, man, whatever. I love Star Wars. You can call me a big Star Wars geek. I don't care. I do want to say hi to a few of them.
Okay.
I want to say hi to a few of our fans out there. Nick, Charles, Anthony, Mark. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for trying to give us good ideas of what you want to hear us talk about. I know we're going to take on Charles's question today. Brandon has agreed to take that on. So we do listen to you guys. We do take requests. If you have something you want us to talk about or discuss, send it our way. We'll be happy to. If you follow us on Good Pods, you can actually ask a question in the Good Pods app directly linked to that podcast of that particular day. That way we know which podcast you're asking a question about, and we can refer back to it and let you know, since we have been doing this now for well over a year and we enjoy every single moment of it. And Brandon checks his email twice an hour. So email him up. Yes. A crazy day today. Before we get into it, hold on. Rules. Brandon and I get together 5 to 10 minutes before the show, and we tell each other what we're going to talk about. We save the live discussion for here on the show. Crazy day in the markets. Everything was down, Brandon. Everything was down. I know I'm kind of just leading off here, and I want to. This is going to lead into other things and other topics, and I kind of want to let the discussion grow organically because I know what you want to talk about. I know what I want to talk about, but I think it's all going to lead in together if I start with this subject, if you will. Go ahead.
Yesterday, you turned on the TV and you saw everybody celebrating because the Federal Reserve's only going to raise by 50 basis points. Then today, it was raining hellfire because they're not going to raise by 75. And I tell you, if you don't have a strategy that you're following and that you're confident in, then you're going to lose all of your money. Because you're going to turn on the TV and you're going to see they're bullish, then tomorrow they'll be bearish, and you're going to be questioning every move you make if you don't develop a strategy.
Right. And when you develop a strategy, be patient. I know people that trade, and I've met them, and they'll sit there, they'll buy into a company, they'll wait for it to move up like 3%, and then they sell because they want to hurt me get something else. Where if they would have just held on to the company because they bought it because of a good fundamental reason, they would have held on. They could have made 30-40%, but and not too much longer. I mean, it really didn't. In the whole scheme of things, if you're trying to get from zero to multi-millionaire in 2 months, go buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Because I feel like you have the wrong intention here. Here is to gradually build income, is to gradually build to that place of where you want to be, to where you're able to retire and live off this income you're built here over time.
Over time.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen in 3 to 4 years if you're doing 5% a week, right? Mm-hmm. And that's fast. But people think that like 5% a week's not even enough, Brandon. I hear that by so many traders, like, oh, only 5%. I got to do 20% this week. And I'm like, why? Why? If
That's
you
because
consistently,
they all made their 200% off of GameStop and then lost 250% off of on it on the backside. It's,
right now they got to make their money back.
now it's booming again. I'm telling you, we're not going to reach a bottom until GameStop's under $5.
Probably. But my point is, guys, like, do your research. Look out there. Like, after today's carnage on the market, there are a few companies out there that are going to be undervalued. Their fundamentals are strong. They got sold off because everything was getting sold off. And it's a good opportunity to find those ones and get in them and own them for the long term and hold on to them. Will they go up tomorrow? Maybe not. Will they go down some more? Probably. That's why you do what we say is you go in with, if you feel like there's still some downside to the market, just go in with a portion of your money now. Wait for the downside to happen and go in again. We've talked about it. You heard the actual discussion between Brandon and I, where he convinced me to do that with Meta live on the show. I did it with Meta and I made money. It's a perfect example of it working. But I just want to start off the show with that, and then talk about something that we actually did right. Brandon and I, the last time we were on this podcast together, at the very end of the podcast, we both bought Twitter, and we are both currently up right now. But I know Brandon has a lot he wants to say on this. I'm going to give it over to him.
So Elon said the plan right now is to take Twitter private, right? With that being said, all shareholders, and I don't know how this is going to work, but supposedly we're going to have the opportunity to either take the $54.20, which for me and Dave will equal around like 6%, 7%, somewhere around there. Or you could stay as a private equity investor in the company. And the goal is to have a turnaround on this and bring it public again at some time. So my question is, Dave, are you taking your profits now? Are you waiting for 54.20? Or are you going to hold through the cycle?
Man, wow. You did catch me off guard with that. I will have to say, if he offers that opportunity based on the amount I have sitting in Twitter, I could let that hold.
I think so too. And then
I can let that hold. I've had a lot of good gains today. This year, sorry, not today. This year, yeah, not today. This year I had a lot of good gains, so that would be coming out of my profit I've made so far this year. So I could let that sit and hold and not worry about it. I think that's a good investment.
I think so too. I am tempted to at some point take it out and treat it as cash and buy something at a lower level because everything's getting beat down right now.
Oh, dude. I mean, I remind everybody, like think to every single recession or, depression or downturn in the business cycle we've had in America, we've always come back. Yep. And so you use it as an opportunity to buy long-term positions in strong companies.
Exactly. And it's so funny. It's the easiest thing to say, buy low, sell high. But it's one of the most difficult things for people to do because of all the emotions that get involved in it.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to our point we've always made. Like, they're saying, well, I need this. I'm like, well, why do you need that money now? And then why do you have it invested if you needed it right now to pay your bills?
Yeah.
You're not doing this the correct way. The correct way is, you take money out of your paycheck. If you're brand new and you're starting to create an investment account, you take money out like $50 or $100 every paycheck, you put it in and you forget about it. That's your retirement now. That's your retirement. It's not money to pay the bills every month.
Exactly.
And that way you don't need it. You can let it sit in long-term positions and grow it. And you can have some for trading. Like that's what Brandon and I do. We have long-term positions. We have some for trading. I have, over the course of the years, traded some penny stocks from time to time. I enjoy doing that. Brandon stays away from that. So, I mean, there's different ways of doing it. Not everyone works for everyone. Everybody has different things that work for them. But do your research, take your time, find the analysis, and you'll find the good ones. Like, we saw Twitter, we saw the opportunity. It had dropped down, and I had full confidence that Musk is gonna get that deal settled. So I'm gonna go ahead and invest my money and take my return. But now it looks like I'm gonna be a private equity holder.
Once popped up for me, and a value stock. I still haven't decided if I'm going to get into it because I've done little more than just look into it for like 5 minutes. Goodyear Tire right now. The price to book is like super low. I think it was like a 0.8 or 0.7, maybe even lower than that. Price to sales were like 0.3 on it. The price to earnings ratio is like 5. So I need to look at it and see what the deal with Goodyear Tire is. If people aren't going to be buying new cars because they're too expensive, they're going to be holding on to their old ones. That's going to be, I would think, bullish for the tire industry because people are going to be getting their tires changed more often. You can tell me if I'm wrong on this logic, but it makes sense at least a little bit to me. I'm not trying to push this company right now because I'm not saying buy it, because I need to look into it and see why it's so low. It's down like 60% just over the past 5 years. So obviously there's been downward pressure on it for some reason, but it is one that's popped up on my screeners and it's catching my eye. And I've never said buy Goodyear Tire stock before in my entire life. I didn't even know that it was offered on the public market. So
your logic sounds sound to me. Your logic sound. It sounds right to me. It's not a sector I have ever really followed. I would definitely look into it some more and see what's behind those numbers, because it could be like Micron was back in the day. It keeps dropping, but the PE stays the same no matter where it's dropping, and there could be some underlying issues there with the books, and I would want to take a look at it.
Well, speaking of strategy here, we'll go into my strategy if that's okay.
Oh, look at that. Nice transition.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that you always need to do, you don't use just one indicator, whether you're investing or trading. In this case, I'm talking about trading, but investing, you always want to use multiples and things that complement each other. Same thing with trading. And for me, I use the MACD, the RSI, the Keltner channels, and the Bollinger Bands all together, because they all complement each other in some way. Now, different people use these metric or these indicators and charts for different reasons. Some people will look at the Bollinger Bands, they'll see a stock pop up above it, and they'll use that, they'll buy in at that point, because oftentimes if the stock pops above the Bollinger Bands, it'll ride the band a little bit higher, and you can make a little bit of money that way. But I use them in a contrarian fashion. I like to buy a stock that has went under the Bollinger Bands and under the Keltner Bands, and then I wait a few days and I'm watching it, and I look at the MACD, and the MACD, once it starts to level out and it starts to curve up, and I try to give it about 3 to 4 days after it's crossed below the Keltner and Bollinger. I don't like to go before that, because before that there's more downside oftentimes. And then I just kind of ride the MACD back up and back through a crossover on the MACD. And I usually net about somewhere between 3 and 5% on these trades. And I'll set my stop loss at 2%. And I usually win about 70% of the time. And so I have the numbers on my side here. I've tested this multiple times. I've done it on my own, and it does work. And you're basically riding a short-term reversal back up to the upside, and you're looking at the 1-day chart. So this is a swing trade that will sometimes it'll take you 3 or 4 days. Sometimes it'll take you a week and a half. And you just watch that MACD curve back up. You're not even really looking at the price, as long as it doesn't go below your 2% stop loss. And you're just watching the MACD curve back up, and you wait for the crossover and you sell. And I usually get about 3%. Now, there's days where these stocks actually are down like maybe 0.5%, but the MACD is still moving up, which is telling me that the selling pressure on the stock is fading. So very handy tool, because oftentimes you'll see, the stock's not really moving today. And, maybe it's not a good trade, but then you look at the MACD and you see you're still moving in the right direction.
Do you think maybe you can do like a screenshot of one of those charts and post it to the Instagram?
Yes, I'll do it. I've done it before, but I can do it again because it's been like probably 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome, because I know you're big, and guys, if you're listening, Brandon is an excellent chart guy. So if you have a question about charts, send it his way. He's on StockTwits all the time. But if
let me say this real quick, it doesn't always have to cross below the Keltner and Bollinger Bands first. If it doesn't cross, that's even better. So you're just looking for the MACD line to be below 0. So you've got selling pressure that's happened. You're waiting for the selling pressure to fade, and then it go, and you kind of revert back to the mean and correct back upwards.
Nice.
That's for a trade. That's not for an investment.
So here's a question. Can you use that exact same chart to help you find investments?
You can. You could probably use it over a long term. I still think when it comes to investments that there's no substitute for financial statements. There's no substitute for value metrics and indicators. And for the value indicators that you see, like the popular ones, price to book and price to sales and price to earnings, those three together. And I place the most importance on price to sales. Mostly because of what I read in that what works on Wall Street and in the back testing that James O'Shaughnessy did.
Hey man, leaders are readers, and you read a ton and you educate yourself a ton, far more than I do. I used to educate myself as much as you do. Not so much anymore. I'm getting too old in the game here, but I like having Brandon around to keep me alive here.
I want to give a warning here.
Warning.
My strategy does not work as well in a highly volatile environment. It works better when that volatility starts to subside and you see the VIX come down, because when we're trading off of macro news, charts kind of get thrown out the window sometimes.
And that's where I used to live, is right when the market's trading off of macro news. I used to just make a killing all the time, be ready to swoop in. But in order to do that, I mean, you got to have a lot of cash on hand, and you got to be ready to go in. You can't be fully invested.
You have to be in tune with the market to the point where you can predict the next step.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So look for the chart, guys. He's going to post at the Instagram. Look for it on Instagram. We'll go into that. I know everybody wants to know, like, all right, guys, thanks for all this insight, this research. I love that you guys have a mix of helping us learn how to be traders. We also want you guys to make some calls, right? So I'm going to give you guys a call right now and
set your stop loss on my thing. Set your stop loss at 2%, because you do not want to get caught in a bear flag. You don't want to get caught in a bear flag, but it does work most of the time. So,
and he's not talking about the California state flag, which has a bear on it. All right. So, all right, since you guys want, I'm going to give you guys a call right now, and this is one I'm definitely buying. I know Brandon's has bought it too the past couple of days. I bought it. It's still at a good price where you could buy it to make money. I'm talking about Activision Blizzard, right? Why are we saying buy it right now? Well, number one reason I'm saying buying is because Microsoft has a buyout on this stock for, I believe, was it $92 a share? 95, somewhere around there. $95 a share is what it's going at. As soon as Buffett announced that he had a 9.2% stake that he just created in Activision Blizzard, then I was like, oh, I'm going all in, because isn't Buffett best friends with Bill Gates? And Bill Gates owns most of Microsoft, and they're the ones buying Activision. So he feels very confident that this deal is going to go through and he's going to make his money. So I feel very confident that this deal is going to go through and make my money. You can still get it at a good deal right now. It's at 77 last time I checked.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's about a 16-17% upside to that $95 price.
Still an excellent opportunity to make some money here. It's a good call. I'm 100% behind it. I don't see the antitrust suit going anywhere. I believe this merger is going to be done, set, deal.
I don't think they care about the video game industry, because I don't think they really understand it.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I
And
mean,
it's not
and
going to make a monopoly. A monopoly in the free markets like the Yeti. Everybody's afraid of it and talks about it, but nobody's really seen a free market monopoly.
well, and here's the thing I think people are worried about is that Microsoft has this whole online gaming thing right now, right? And you couldn't stream Fortnite on your cell phone or some other devices until recently when Xbox jumped in and said, hey, you can use our system that's already set in place for streaming and playing video games on your mobile phone. So Fortnite now is going to be available on your iOS phone or your Google Android phone via the Microsoft Xbox streaming service. So that's going to be a big plus to the gaming revenue over there at Microsoft Xbox. And they're growing that area. You see what the moves they're making with that move recently into streaming and Fortnite partnering up with them, and also with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, you can see them taking steps into this field.
Yeah.
I just wonder if a VR headset's coming soon for gaming, because like I said, Microsoft has billions of dollar business for the HoloFit lens with the governments and military, but they don't have a VR headset for gaming. So they have VR headsets. They have the technology. They make it work for the U.S. military. That's what the military uses. Why? I mean, it's just easy for them to make that move into consumer gaming.
Yeah, they should. And I'm surprised they don't really have one for the Xbox, because PlayStation's had one for the PlayStation for a while. They've had PlayStation VR since PlayStation 4. So it wouldn't surprise me that Microsoft, if Microsoft would make a similar move.
I think they're waiting to see if it's really going to take off like everybody thought it would. It was taken off there for a bit. I was announcing the numbers. I don't know if you remember late in the fall of last year, I was announcing all the numbers that were coming in and how they were having record sales.
Oculus is doing well.
Yeah, Oculus is doing well, but then it sort of stalled because Meta came out and said, hey, we're going to create this whole metaverse thing, and everybody got excited about that. But then when you put on the Oculus headset, you weren't in the metaverse that's not really quite created yet. And so people were kind of disappointed, thinking it was going to be like Ready Player One, and they don't have that yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's what stalled a lot of it. They realized that it's just gaming, and you got to connect with other VR gamers that had the VR sets, and and create your own community there, like you have your community with Xbox, PlayStation, and so forth. And I think that's what stalled a lot of the sales recently. And I think that's what Microsoft is waiting for, to see kind of what's going to happen, because they already have the hardware set in place with the HoloFit lens. It'll be easy to take that and break it down to a consumer friendly version that would partner with the Xbox.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyways, that was our call. Activision Blizzard. So if you're listening to us and you want calls as well as knowledge, as well as how to research, our call today is Activision Blizzard. Brandon, I believe you had like one more thing.
I got a couple.
I got into mine.
So,
my doom and gloom speech before I get into my doom and gloom coming.
So we mentioned a little bit about Warren Buffett and Activision there, and they just had the Berkshire Hathaway investor conference on Saturday, and they made a lot of news like they always do. And Charles,
which I'm going to interrupt you here. I just want to let everybody know next year Chinchilla Picking will be at the Berkshire Hathaway Investor Conference.
I can't wait.
Chinchilla, we will be there. We will probably do a podcast. We'll try to sneak one in live or something. I don't know.
Maybe we'll put it on YouTube if we can do a live one. It'd be awesome if we could set up a booth or something.
That would be awesome. I'm down.
Well, Warren Buffett in this conference, first of all, he assured us that he is not the lady on the seas candy box. That is not him in drag. That is a lady born in 1850. So there's that. He also said that one of his new rules is to buy companies that could be run by two guys with Alzheimer's, just in case.
So Chinchilla Picking, is he buying us?
Yeah. He said that if he goes to meet the CEO of a company he's about to buy out, and that CEO is in a home cutting out paper dolls for entertainment, then that's his guy.
So all right. I want to explain this a little bit better for people who don't understand what Warren Buffett's talking about, because I have the same approach to when I'm trying to explain to people how to pick a 401k fund. And let me explain it in the terms of a 401k fund. That's what people will understand better, I believe. And a 401k fund, when I explain it to people, I say you want a fund that's been around for 10 years or longer and that has consistent numbers over the course of that whole 10 years or longer time frame. And the reason I give that is that I say you were looking for a fund that's been around a while because you want a fund that has had different fund managers on it. And you know that if a fund has had consistent double-digit growth over the course of 10 years plus, year over year, over year, over year, generally the company is one that takes care of that fund. They want to make sure that fund does well, so they have high-performing people working in that fund, not just one person who's doing well. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up a fund called Magellan Fund. That fund did excellent, great. It was an all-star fund. Then the fund manager left and the fund went down to nothing. It went down to dirt. They were doing horrible. Not horrible. They were still producing a profit, but you could say it was like going from like 14% down to 4%. Nobody wants to invest in that kind of fund that has a 4%. So they followed that fund manager to his next fund. So you're looking for a fund that has a good core of people behind it and not just one person creating all the change and creating all the momentum. That's what Warren Buffett's talking about. If the CEOs of the company, once you started it, aren't really needing to be involved in the company in order to be a success anymore, that means they've brought in the talent, they brought in the people to replace them, and the company's vision is going to continue to grow long after they're gone. That's what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so funny because people so often mischaracterize this meeting. I talked about how buy low, sell high is such a hard concept for some people. Value investing is sort of the same thing. And it cracks me up. How many times have you heard Warren Buffett say the same thing? Yet they keep asking him the same dumb questions. How do you time the market, Mr. Buffett? And then he says, I don't time the market. I just buy things when they're valuable. Well, you seem to have impeccable timing. You buy things and then they go up. No, I buy things because they're valuable, and then they're valuable, so they go up. He says the same thing over and over again, and it cracks me up. But he did say he hates it when he buys a stock and it goes up right away because it doesn't give him enough time to accumulate it. He said he would prefer that he buys a stock and then it goes down over the near term because they can buy more for cheap. It's just it's the way that we should all be looking at this right now. And even in this market, buy stuff for cheap. And if it goes down in the near term, so what?
Buy it cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Buy it cheaper. And even if you've used up all your money, maybe you just sit on your hands.
Right? Grow some diamonds on your hand. Grow some diamonds. Get those diamond hands. And I like your now what you were saying there about how they always ask him the same question. And here's why, man, is reporters have come and gone, but Warren Buffett has always been the leader in the stock trading world, investment world.
And then how many times has he said that he mostly only buys equities? He does a couple bonds here and there, but this is it. This is his game. That's what he does. It's what he understands. So when he said on Saturday that he will not buy all of the Bitcoin in the world for $25, it makes sense to him because he doesn't understand Bitcoin. He's never bought gold. He's never traded Forex. Okay. Bitcoin, crypto, it's not his thing. This shouldn't be news. It wasn't an insult.
All right. So I do want to say, if you do your history on Warren Buffett, you do know he made a lot of money buying and selling junk bonds in the 60s there.
By the way.
So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was a young man. He was just starting off. But he did buy and sell. I just want to put that out there so no one comes on and say, "Oh, he bought junk bonds back in the."
But
yes,
equities are his thing now. That's it. That's what he does. It's what he understands. And like I said, he's done some bonds in the past, but the great majority of his wealth has been created in the stock market, which is what he knows. So to say, oh, well, he said he wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25. I don't think that was necessarily a knock on Bitcoin. Now, Munger took some shots at Bitcoin. And I love Charlie Munger, but for some reason, he's one of those guys that he's a value investor and he thinks that value investing is the only way to go and it's the only right way to go and it's the only thing that makes sense. And I don't understand that aspect of people, because I myself, when I buy stocks, I'm mostly a value investor as well. But if you're a growth investor, more power to you. I have no dog in that game. I'm not going to be tribalistic or fight over it. I don't.
Right. And I would so I do want to point this out. There's a million different ways to make a dollar. So whether you're a growth investor, value investor, like we say every single time on the show, we just want everyone to make money, because if everybody's doing well and everybody's investing well, the economy goes up, people are happier, people are doing well, the whole living arrangement in the United States does better. So that's our goal.
And Munger took a shot at Robinhood, which I actually applauded.
I love that. Thank you, Munger, for that.
I loved it. A lot of good ideas are being overdone. Robinhood, peak to trough. Look at that. Peak to trough, he said. And then he went on to say, look what they did to retail investors. And I agree with this. They made people gamble. They influenced them to gamble. They incentivized them to gamble on these meme stocks and everything else like that. And he said, look what happened to Robinhood. They're crumbling. And he said, God is becoming just. And I thought it was hilarious when he said it. And then a Robinhood representative came out and completely gaslighted, and to me, like, just showed how little credibility that they should have to the general public. She said, I can't believe that he would just mischaracterize an entire group of people like that. No, he didn't mischaracterize an entire group of people. He didn't mischaracterize the people that were putting their money into Robinhood. He didn't mischaracterize them. He talked about you. He was talking about your company, nobody else. So stop gaslighting. Okay, defend yourself if you have any defense. Don't make up a straw man argument that he didn't say and then try to fight against that. Because to me, that shows that you're full of crap.
I love that. I was going to sit back and just let you go for another 5 minutes there, man. Do you want me? I could get another soapbox though, right underneath you. I 100% agree. I love that.
I'm not against people that use other strategies to beat the market or to try to beat the market. Okay. But I am against the people that are like similar to the palm readers of the stock market that try to sell you crap, that try to sell you things that don't work, because everybody knows that everybody wants a shortcut and that everybody in some way is a little desperate, right? Or at least they feel that way. A lot of people do, not everybody, but a lot of people do. So they will make up these crazy chart lines, pretending they can read the stars, and they are the faith healers of the stock market, in my opinion.
Nice.
So with that being said, it's time to play the game. Real or not real. These are candlestick patterns that are made up. Okay.
All right. Before we get into this, I do want to say something real quick. After we play this game, I'll be the one guessing. After we play this game, we're going to do our final thoughts and cut it off at that point. But I'm excited. Brandon's going to, you go ahead, Brandon, explain the game.
Okay. So I'm going to name some chart patterns. You tell me if they're real or fake.
Now, I don't know chart patterns. For anyone listening, if you don't know by now, Brandon is the more intellectual one. He knows the charts, the analytics. I'm over here and I do macro events, so day trading. So this is a fair challenge for me. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, dumpling tops, real or fake?
Ooh, I don't know that. I'm gonna go fake.
Real.
Oh, dumpling, really? Wow.
Fry pan bottom.
No, because that would just be. I know the. I've heard shoulder and heads. That would be an inverted shoulder and heads.
It's actually
so I'm gonna say no.
It's an inverted dumpling top. It's real.
Oh man.
Shaved bottom.
What is it?
Shaved bottom.
Not real.
Real. It's a candlestick with no lower shadow. I don't even care what that means. Abandoned baby.
Not real. That can't be real. Come on.
They're all real. They're all real.
Abandoned bait. Wow. That's just not PC. That's just not right, dude.
Listen, and some people, in their defense, some people will see things and they may happen by chance a couple of times over and over again, maybe 3 or 4 times they'll see it happen. And so they'll say, oh, that's a pattern I just discovered. And they'll make up a goofy name for it and put it in a book somewhere. Or, maybe advertise it on YouTube with their 6 desktop monitors that they have for some reason. Nobody, I still can't figure out why you need 6 monitors to trade stocks. I don't get it.
I got my phone and my laptop, man.
Your phone and your brain.
Yes.
I like my desktop though, or if I had a laptop, which I should have a laptop, that'd be so much easier. But I was an idiot and bought a desktop instead, because there's things that you can access on the desktop through your brokerage that you can't necessarily get on your phone. But that really,
and I will go on record and say the only reason I have a laptop is because I needed a gaming laptop to take my VR gaming system around different places, different houses and stuff. And so that's why I have a nice high-powered laptop.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Right. Final thoughts, Brandon. Final thought. What's your final thought?
My final thought is that my girlfriend should buy me an Alienware laptop. Because
yes, I agree. That is my final thought as well. If you agree with this, go ahead and send us a DM on Instagram at @chinchillapickin or on stock twits at chinchillapickin or TikTok at chinchillapickin. If you haven't guessed it by now, just do @chinchillapickin on Google and you'll hit something. And let's all put in there and say Brandon's girlfriend needs to buy him Alienware gaming laptop because I'm down for that. Buy Activision. That's the only last thing I want to say, guys. If you haven't bought Activision yet, buy Activision. I think you're missing the Twitter move, so I wouldn't say get in now. I think it's already moving. But Activision, definitely one to buy. Anything else, Brandon?
You don't have to time the market. The metrics will do it for you.
Yep.
That's it. And then you just can sit on your hands. There's no reason to panic.
Yep.
Even if we have a recession coming, I think that the last quarter GDP decreased by 1.25%. So we could be right in the middle of a recession right now and not even know it.
Yep. All right, guys. As always, we hope you've been entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night.